Welcome to the third video about professional tea tasting. In the first two videos we have spoken about the 5 basic tastes and also about the intensity and texture. Today we will finally speak about taste and fragrance. And we will be looking at the taste according to two different approaches. We will look at the taste according to a systematic approach and a creative approach, and we will combine them together. So let's get started. Taste tea like a pro. Hi guys, this is Gabriele from nannuoshan, where we share the pleasure of drinking and discovering genuine farm tea. If you are new here in our channel and you are also looking to expand your tea knowledge and brewing skills, then make sure to click on the subscribe button. And if you enjoy watching at any time, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Alright, today we are going to speak about taste and fragrance, and we want to approach the two in a professional way, like actually tea professionals do. So we will use a kind of step-by-step approach in which we will go first through the fragrance and then through the taste, and over this path we will deepen and deepen our understanding of the tea. So the first thing that you want to do actually when you have a new tea and you want to taste it, you want to smell the dry leaf. So I usually put them in a lotus like this, which is a little bit closed. You can even put them directly in the gaiwan and smell it in the gaiwan, and you put the leaves just under your nose and you try to pick up which kind of fragrances the tea reminds you. You can do that in two ways, just simply like I did right now, but to enhance the fragrance of the tea, you can even first breathe out on the leaves and then smell like this. When you breathe out on the leaves, it's like the fragrance is hitting your face. It's much more intense and it's easier to identify the taste. Like in this case for me is a quite sweet and fruity tea actually. Yeah, it has also some floral note, but I would say yeah, I'm not so sure actually if it's fruity or floral, but the first thing that I was thinking actually is a fruitiness, and it has not the freshness of fresh fruits. It is a fruitiness that is a little bit it reminds me some incense. So when you have a fruity incense at home, you turn it on and you have this kind of smokiness, fruity smokiness in the air. Yeah, this kind of essential oil fruitiness maybe. And this is the way to start actually to approach the tea, just the wet leaves. And the next, the dry leaves. And the next step is the wet leaves. So you take your leaves. By the way, what I have here is nuanced. This one here, this tea here, is a very fragrant Phoenix single bush, Fan Dansam tea, that is ideal to do and explain taste and fragrance. So I put it in the gaiwan, and the next step I will basically make a quick rinse of the tea. There we go. And I pour it in the cup, so this way I will also warm up the cup. And when you want to smell the wet leaves, you don't just put your nose in the gaiwan, that would be too intense. So what you do, you smell the lid. It is the smell is a little bit more subtle and it's easier to approach. And then of course what you can do is also then smell in the gaiwan, but don't put your nose directly in it, approach it from the side or just go next to it. So I like actually to put it more or less under my chin here and then just smell the hot air that raises from the gaiwan. Yeah, definitely fruity to me. What I just noticed because I was doing it, what you want to do, sometimes you want to neutralize your nose actually. So what you do is when you smell the tea, then you put it on the side, you expirate from your nose and then you breathe again. And this way you neutralize a little bit your nose, especially when you have to taste different teas one after the other. And actually there is another tip that one of our loyal customer gave to me, and is when you do that, so you aspirate from your nose and then you put your nose in your elbow and you breathe in and breathe out into your elbow. It's even better when you have a t-shirt and you can do that directly on your skin. This neutralizes your nose again. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but thank you, Alexandra, for proposing this. It's really working. And Alexandra told me that this is something that she learned when she was how to say, approaching different perfumes. So she was working in the perfume industry and she had to smell a lot of different perfumes, and after in between, basically, she was always doing like this to neutralize the smell sense, actually. All right, the last thing that you want to smell, don't forget, is the liquor. And here is always interesting because the leaves are usually much more aromatic than the liquor. So when you smell the liquor, there is a little bit of disappointment, if you want, but still there are also new nuances. For example, the fruitiness is much more hidden, if you want, and it has more, to me, a more neutral bread, yeah, cereal. Yeah, it reminds me, there is a little bit of aromatic behind, but it's more these neutral tones that come up, more umami. All right, so now that you have smelled your tea, you smell your leaves dry and wet, and also your liquor, it is time to switch the taste and do a first proper steep. And how to approach the taste of the tea. Also, in this case, you want to go step by step. And what I like using to help me actually in the process, I like to use a tea aroma wheel. I have a look at the few ones that are available there, and really the one that I like the best is the one from the International Tea Masters Association that you see here on the screen. And I have it here with me on my iPad, and I will use it to go through the process of tasting this tea. But before we start with the aroma wheel, I would like to tell you what I like to do actually. And the first thing that I like to do is to ask myself a very simple question. I ask myself, is the tea floral, fruity or nutty? And this way it helps me to put it a little bit in a category at first, and then to deepen that category even further with the help of the wheel. So let's see how this tea tastes. Very sweet actually, even the smell. It reminds me a little bit the smell, now I recall it actually, of a fruit pie. Rather made with fresh fruit like pears, apples, very much like that. Another thing that I do all the time, and you have noticed it, is when you taste the tea, you want to put also a lot of air in your mouth, because the combination basically of the air and the tea enhance the fragrance. It's basically the same principle when you breathe out on the leaves to smell more the aroma of the dry leaves. In the same way, when you put air in your mouth, you enhance the ability of your sensory, of your sense. It's very, very crispy and mineral in the mouth. It has definitely a lot of minerality that I was not able to spot before. But before going into much detail, I'll take again my wheel here, and I go just, very systematic through the wheel very quickly. The wheel is done in a way that you have to start from the very center. You see there are 3 levels actually. There is a central level, a little bit an outer circle, and a very outer circle. So you want to start from the very one, and if we start here from the right, floral, this is for me definitely a floral tea. And then you can look at what it suggests. It suggests you summer meadows or garden flowers. Honestly, I cannot tell. Like sometimes you drink a tea and it has a clear note of jasmine flowers or of frangipani or magnolia, if you know those. But here I cannot tell because the florality is not dominant. For me, it's more the fruitiness that is. Plants, herbaceous, it is definitely a vegetal tea. That's for sure. You really taste the vegetal nature of it. So for me, that would definitely go well with it. But it's not something. It's not a very aromatic vegetation. Like here, I read parsley, mint, lavender. That's too much. So for me, it's more grassy. It's not grassy, it has grass notes in it. Yeah, I don't know if it's not like fresh cut of grass, but it has this vegetal grass in the mouth. Earthy, no, this is not so much earthy or woody tea. Mineral for sure, this is very mineral. It has a stone minerality to it that you cannot miss, and it is like licking a stone. It is it also influences the texture actually, because it brings some movement in your mouth. Fresh or candied fruit, and also here I told you that already before, for me it is a clearly fruity tea. It reminds me more of pears, even more apples actually, green apples I would say, and with the warmness of a fruity pie. And you basically go all around, spicy. If it has spicy note, this to me is not fire animal. I wouldn't say so. I mentioned the smoke before, but just because I had this incense in my mind, but it's not a smoky tea. Sweet for sure, very sweet. Honey, not at all. It's not the honey sweetness. It is more of a sugar cane candies. Nutty, it's not nutty, and now we are at the end of the wheel. So now you see that by this approach, first identifying if this is floral, fruity or nutty. For me this is fruity with a little bit of florality to it, and then approaching the wheels all the way around and always looking first at the inner part of the circle and then outer. You start building your understanding of the tea basically, and you start building association. Another important aspect that at this point you want to notice is the aftertaste. So you have been sipping the tea for a while. It has this very clear aromatic, I love that song actually, in your mouth, and then when you swallow it, you start feeling what comes after. And you want to look at 2 aspects actually of the aftertaste. One is the intensity, and the other thing is the duration, if you want. So how intense it is and how long does it last. And this is quite long lasting. Yeah, it comes actually here from the side. And it's what is interesting. It's even a little bit more astringent in the aftertaste than it is the tea itself when you smell it and you drink it. Sorry. That song is actually, as I've said before, is really one of my favorite tea. It belongs. If I have to mention 3 teas that I like the most, that song is always one of them. Alright, now you have seen that until now the approach was very systematic, right? So we have gone through the smelling the leaves, dry and wet, then the liquor, and then we have approaching this tasting, going one step farther every time. Now, on the way, sometimes you have also some kind of creative associations, right? For example, at a certain point at the very beginning, it recalled me this incense. That is something that is not so commonly used in tea actually. And then later on, when I was thinking more about the fruitiness, it came to my mind the fruity pies that as a child I was used to eat at home. So these warm fruity pies And you see that in a way I already started actually combining a systematic approach with the creativeness, and this is very important. It's very important to associate the tea with different aspects using your creativity, even very, very strange things, and then putting all together to provide an overall picture about the tea. You don't want simply to tell someone, oh look, Yashishan, it tastes like a green apple. Because if I tell you just this and you taste the tea, you don't expect a green apple in there. And why this is the case? Because think like that. Take a pear. Now, if you eat a pear, do you ask yourself how the pear will taste? I don't think so, because you know how a pear tastes. You don't have to describe it, right? If you tell someone I've eaten a pear, you don't have to describe it. But if you tell someone I've drunk Yashishan, then even it could be someone that is really into it, but still there are even different Yashishan. So even if the guy knows what is Yashishan, you have to add something more of it. You have to tell if it was more oxidized, if it was very aromatic, and so on. So you have to provide the description. And how to do that? We do that with association. But you have to understand that associations want really to transmit an overall picture and not simply single taste. So if I simply tell you Yashishan tastes like a green apple, it's not correct, yeah, and you won't understand what I mean even if you drink it. But if I start telling you Yashishan is an oolong tea that is extremely aromatic, it has a very clear vegetal note, not of fresh cut grass, but it has nonetheless a warm grassiness to it. And on top of that, it has this mineral texture and crispy texture in your mouth that together with the freshness, combined crispy and freshness, recall to my mind actually a green apple, the sweetness and crispiness of a green apple. And on top of that, you have also some floral notes on the background. So if you provide this whole picture, then people can understand better what you mean with green apple. And you can also do association with stuff that is not edible. So let me think. You could sometimes you can make association of how a tea tastes with the barks of the trees, or for example the smell of the undergrowth in the forest. When on a rainy day, you don't go there and take the leaves from the ground and eat them to see how they taste, but just the smell in the air can help you also in association with the taste. One more thing that you want to look in a tea, not only fragrance and taste, but at the very end when you approach also the aftertaste, you want also to look at the effect on your body. This is a very important aspect of tea. So there are many ways to describe the effect on your body, or not the body, that the tea has. But if I have to give you a couple of approaches, one is to think if the tea has a more cooling or warming effect on your body, because cooling you down, typically a green tea for example, or is warming you up. An example, a very heavily roasted yen cha, extremely warming. And also you want to feel if the tea is more relaxing you or exciting you. So this way you can also transmit to your friends or to whoever you want to speak with the effect that the tea has on your body. And you do all this exercise not only to tell people how the tea tastes. This is more, of course, the professional approach. So we have to describe the teas on our website, and we have to select the teas when we are traveling and sourcing teas. So we want to taste very different teas, and we ask ourselves all this question to understand which is better than the other, and also then to transmit to you when you read our website how the tea tastes. But for you, is not this the primary reason why you do that. You do that actually to improve your understanding of the teas and also improve your future tea session. Also, when you don't drink a tea with the intention of approaching it in a professional way, but just for the pleasure of drinking tea, having gone through this process help you very quickly associating taste and sensation in your mind and improve your appreciation of the tea. That's at least my personal experience. And you want to do this professional tea tasting, best actually is done with friends, because friends help you with their ideas to create even more association in your mind. And when I do actually the tasting alone, I like to use a guy one, because the guy one is what I would use anyway, so this brings me closer to my future tea session when I just drink tea for pleasure. But if you have to approach several teas, or you have a bunch of people that want to taste them, then you would rather take a tea taster's mug. And actually, when I travel to China, I always have a tea taster's mug with me, because I want to, when I visit the farmers, to have my set of TEAWARE, so that I can taste teas of different season, of different harvest day, or sometimes of different processing from the same farmers, according to using my own TEAWARE, which makes me a little bit more familiar and comfortable, because farmers sometimes don't have 4 guy ones all the same to offer to me, so that I can do my tasting. Alright, so said that, I've said actually all I wanted to tell you. Thank you very much for watching, and in the next video on professional tea tasting, we will summarize it all. Thank you very much. Don't forget to give us the thumbs up, and of course to subscribe our channel if this is the first time you're watching our video. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next video, and for now, bye bye.